and welcome everybody. Welcome Linda, welcome May, and Gary is joining us shortly to another wonderful episode or program with Get Healthy and Stay Balanced with Dyanne. Um, Many of you guys have been here on the journey as Dyanne has taken us to healthy eating and staying balanced with some wonderful recipes. But I know that Dyanne today is going to switch things up a little
Yep.
bit, and I'm very excited to see what that's going to look like, and I'm sure you guys are as well. But before we begin, just some rules for participation, guys. Um, as we know, in order, we are all here in the land of the credit, land of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and we give thanks to the land that we're on, which is actually very much complementary to the conversation that we have today about eating healthy and staying balanced. Part of that is grounding ourselves and acknowledging the land that we're on, and also it also helps us set up our preparation for participation. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please use the chat box feature below. You can raise your hands to ask a question. If you would like to be unmuted to ask a question directly to Dyanne, just privately message me and I will unmute you that way. And the most important thing of all, let's respect one another and our perspectives. And also, as you know, this program is being recorded. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Dyanne for her to take it away.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Get Healthy and Stay Balanced. I'm Dyanne Dumas, and this is week number 5. So it's a 10-week virtual program. Today marks the 5th week, halfway, and so happy to have you along on this journey. Today we're going to switch it up a little bit, as Nabil had mentioned. It's November 30th. We're getting very close to, well, tomorrow we welcome in December. And, time is flowing as it usually does. But I think this year I think it's two things. I think it's been slow in some respects because we've been in our homes a lot. But, now all of a sudden we're approaching December. So in some respects, it seems like it's gone by fast as well. This program, as you know, is designed to help get you healthy and live your best lifestyle possible. So today is a critical lesson. It's about the cleansing process. And cleansing process is necessary in order to maintain healthy bodies and stay disease free. And it's something that a lot of us know a little bit about, but hopefully today you're going to learn a lot of things that you didn't know or didn't really think of. And I've got a couple of live demos for you as well. So we're going to get started talking about the cleansing process. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit or read to you about what true disease is. And this is toxemia. It's caused by obstructions in the human sewage system. The poor elimination of metabolic toxins, which come from foods, exercise, stress, the environment. Those are all toxins that we get from those sources, and we can't avoid a lot of them. They're just part of life. They result in septic poisoning of the bloodstream. And if your body is never given a chance to effectively be rid of these toxins, because either we fail to give the system a rest or we fail to make the changes in our lifestyle to a cleaner lifestyle, then what happens is we store these toxins in our bodies, in the tissues and in the lymph system, and they wait for an opportunity themselves to detoxify. And so what we want to do is be ahead of that curve. We want to be able to constantly be eliminating and detoxifying ourselves so that we don't develop disease. So that might sound kind of complex, but let's simplify it, and let's start with talking about the primary elimination organs. So I'm just going to open it up to you if you want to participate. Just switch it up a little bit differently. Does anybody know the primary elimination organs? And I'll give you a tip. There's 3 of them. So primary elimination organs. What would they be? Okay. Well, you probably have some thoughts of it. The lungs. That's your first one. And when we think about elimination, We normally think about the bowels, and that's probably why you didn't want to say anything, because I was like, who wants to talk about poop on a Monday morning? Okay, but it's all natural, it's all normal, and that is part of our elimination system. But the lungs are the organ which the gases are eliminated. So before learning about this, I never really considered my lungs as being an elimination process, like the same way you probably didn't. The major gas, which we're all familiar with, is in the form of carbon dioxide. It's a byproduct of the oxidation of the cells after the oxygen has been released into your lungs. So our lungs are the largest, most important internal elimination organ. They exchange 12,000 quarts of air daily. Imagine that. 12,000 quarts of air daily is going through your lungs. And as we breathe in the oxygen and exhale the carbon dioxide, we are constantly eliminating toxins. So our bodies are so wonderfully made that we're designed to do that naturally. Which brings me to what we talked a little bit about last week, is we really need to utilize our lungs to their full capacity so that they can really take in the air and exhale correctly, and that we're not shallow breathers. Just like we don't want to be shallow thinkers, we want to be shallow breathers. We want to go deep into the tissues and really exercise the lungs. So we're going to do that breathing exercise again. And just to think about the pollutants that we have in the air, the exhaust from the gas, the vehicles outside, the cleaners at home, or the chemicals, all those artificial air fresheners, they're highly toxic to your body because they're made of synthetic chemicals. And we think, yeah, I'm going to spray this on my couch, not to mention any names, but it's going to make it smell good. But what you're actually doing is you're masking that odor, and you're breathing in these synthetic chemicals that not only disrupt our hormones, but affect our lung tissue. So we know it's natural essential oils and things like that we can use to purify the air and open up the windows and get the fresh air. You probably have heard that the air outside is cleaner than the air in your house. So it's good to sometimes open the windows and get a nice breeze going through. Things like that to help so we have less toxins in our environment. And there's certain, these ones you can control, some we can't control. But I always remember being a kid, one of the smells, when you're at the lake and or you just go to a gas station and you're putting gas in the tank, the smell of gas. Some people really like it, but my sister and I, we always like that. So we'd be, the smell of gas. And now I just think, oh my gosh, we were smelling that gas. How toxic was that for us? So, we didn't know back then what I know now, but those kinds of things are really toxic to our body. Smoking, pollution, smog, they cause severe damage and they block the elimination while they add toxins into our bodies. So this awareness of breathing deeply is going to really help to detoxify your lungs. And let's go through that breathing exercise together. So I'm going to have you sit or stand up straight. And you want it when you're up straight, you want to make sure that you're not leaning over. We are in the age of devices, so we have this posture quite a bit. Well, especially if you're under 30. Because you're on your phones all the time. I'm just kind of generalizing, but that's what I see. We're hunched over, and that form has collapsed my rib cage. So I want to sit up, okay? And that may feel very strange for you. You might be used to kind of sagging into that worn couch, into that comfy armchair, but we want to pull up. We want to make sure the shoulders are down. We don't want, when we take our inhalation, we don't want to bring our shoulders with us because that causes a little bit of tension in the neck. So we want to keep the shoulders down, and we want to focus on the breath coming down to this area of our ribs. Okay, so sitting up straight, and place one hand on your rib cage. See if I can kind of do that so you can see. And then what I want to do is take the air in, and I'm going to take it in through my mouth, and I'm just going to let it go down into my rib cage, and I'm going to let my rib cage open up. It's going to extend outward. Okay, so let's just take in a deep breath. And let's just do a sigh. Ah, and let everything collapse. And in again. Ah, good. And you can see my rib cage open and close. Ah, okay, good. And this time, what we want to do is we want to take in the breath, and then we're going to exhale slowly. So we can exhale to a nice steady just like a little S sound, and just enough air that it's coming through your lips that you can hear that sound. Okay, so breath in. And so forth. Okay, so don't worry if you lost your breath after 3 seconds. Through practice, you'll increase that because there's muscles working. The intercostals of your rib cage they need to develop and stretch like any other muscles. They're responsible for opening up the rib cage so that you can get the breath nice and low. What you don't want to do is what we call clavicle breathing, where you take your breath in and you go and you lift up. Let's do that so you know what that feels like. So breathe in, and then feel the tightness here in your throat. Yeah, so everything is tight. And you're not detoxifying very well because you're not letting that breath get nice and low into the lower regions of the lungs. So we want to not do that. We feel the tightness in the throat. And for singing or speaking, if I breathe that way and then try to talk, I'm very tense in here, and it affects my voice quality. And especially if you're singing, that doesn't really work very well. So we want the breath nice and low. The exercise we did last week is we breathed in for 4, we held for 2, and then we exhaled for 6. So we want the exhale to be longer than the inhale. Today we're going to do the same thing, but in addition to holding at the top, we're going to hold at the bottom. So we'll hold 2 sections in each direction. So we're going to inhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 2. Then exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold for 1, 2. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 2. Now exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold for 2, and you could go on like that. So that's a great exercise. It totally helps increase your lung capacity. We learned today it's detoxifying our lungs, and we're also calming down your central nervous system. And how more than now do we need a time like that? Not only because it's COVID and we have enough stress, but it's also Christmas is coming, and we're starting to think like, how am I going to get those presents, and how am I going to do this or that? There always seems to be a bit of a stress that comes with the holidays, maybe even additional this year because things look a lot different in terms of gatherings. So that might actually alleviate some stress because you don't have to do diligence and see everybody that you normally do, but it may also add some extra stressors in there. So stress is a part of daily life. And one thing that I learned about stress is that we all can react to it differently. Notice how I said we all can react, or we can all choose to respond. And the key thing that we miss is that it's a choice. And so how you choose to respond comes to you. Now, you may be thinking, well, I just get stressed out and this is what happens. But that could possibly be because you've trained yourself to respond that way. You haven't learned that you have a choice. It's interesting if you think about, stress in different people's lives. We all can kind of think or you can compare your stress level to someone else. You can see someone else that probably has more on their plate than you do, and you see them going through life still happy, still peaceful, still joyful. And meanwhile, and then you find out like, oh my gosh, they're dealing with, a sick parent or a sick family member, or they've lost their job, or they're financially strapped. But you would never know it because they still choose every day to be positive. And then you see other people that are so stressed out because, the wrong appliance was delivered to their house, and there was a dent in it, and they have to return it, and what a hassle it is. And that's a little thing, but it's like huge to them. So, we all have seen that where we interpret stress, and we can also choose how to respond to it. The breathing exercise we did is going to help you take a moment, calm down, calm yourself down, use your head, and work through your situation. And I really like the key there. It's a choice. And it's the same way. It's a choice every day. What do we choose to do with our bodies? Do we choose to put good things in, or we choose to put things in that don't make us healthier? And every word we speak is a choice. Everything comes down to, is it this or is it this? So mindful living, that's another subject that maybe I can expand on. But today, let's get back to the cleansing process. So we talked about the lungs being the organ that releases the gases, and is one of the largest primary cleansing organs. The second one, does anybody know what number 2 would be? Okay, it's not the bowels yet. That's coming up. It's the skin. The skin is our largest single organ, and it provides a living, breathing barrier that serves as a protective shell to guard against invasive elements. It also acts as a toxic waste disposal unit. Do you know that the skin eliminates twice as much waste by weight as the bowels do each day? Let me say that again. The skin eliminates twice as much waste by weight as the bowels do each day. That's why it's important to aid the skin. You want to help your skin dispose the waste by showering, by bathing, right? That washes away surface residues. That's really important. Now, you may be thinking, well, I heard that it's not great to be too clean. Well, not true. It's good to wash away, but it doesn't mean you scrub with cleansers that are synthetic, that are unhealthy, because that will strip away the natural oil barrier that you have. So you can even just shower, frequently just with water even. Not to say that you don't need some other products, some healthy washes, but you can just rinse, and as long as you're getting rid of the toxins that are on your skin. If one feels the need to skin moisturize, you can use alternatives. So back to what I just said, there's so many products on the market, and if you read the ingredients and you can't pronounce most of them, then what am I really putting on my body? And you can use things like coconut butter, avocado oil, cold pressed olive oil. They're far better choices than the chemically laden commercial alternatives that I mentioned. Another one is shea butter, sometimes pronounced shea butter, and that is fat that's extracted from the nut of the African shea tree. So you've heard about shea butter. It's a really great moisturizer and a great barrier to put on your skin. Choose clothing that allows your skin to breathe. So I'm actually wearing a t-shirt today, and it's made from bamboo, and it's a wonderful fabric. It feels great. And when you start wearing fabrics that are not all synthetic, you realize like this feels good. And You maybe have not experienced it before. So give it a try. They're lovely. Yeah, they're more expensive, but there's that saying, you get what you pay for, right? If you want high quality stuff, it does come with a price tag. But so does disease, and so does sickness, comes with a price tag as well. Natural fibers, organic cotton. Man-made fibers from chemicals tend to smother the skin, and they don't allow it to breathe. And that's why your skin gets clammy when you wear those fibers. And when you wear organic cotton and things like bamboo or hemp, your body feels good. You don't feel that clammy, sticky feeling that you get when you wear the synthetic clothing. Antiperspirants and deodorants are not great for you because most antiperspirants contain aluminum. And that there's so many scientific studies that have been linked to Alzheimer's disease with aluminum. Any substance applied to the underarm also can block the toxin releasing lymphatic glands. So we have lymph glands underneath our armpits, and they are part of your drainage system. They're part of your detoxing system. And when you put a barrier on that, an antiperspirant that stops that from happening, it's like putting, a hand smothering over your mouth and your nose, kind of like we're doing now with the masks, but okay. It stops you from breathing, right? It doesn't feel good. So those lymph glands have to release the toxins. And if they're not allowed to do that, you're forcing them back into your lymphatic system. And there are studies that show it can be a contributing factor to breast cancer. So, and if not, it's just not good for you to be doing that. There are natural deodorants on the market. So we live in an age now where there's a lot more health conscientious people, and there are alternatives. So seek them out. And a lot of times if you go into a health food store, the people working there are usually trained. They're either nutritionalists, or they've done some naturopathic training. They're very aware of products. They're not just hired off the street. So they're quite knowledgeable. And now we're going to talk a little bit about what we can do for our skin to help detoxify. And I brought with me my dry brush. So when it looks like this, and this is made of natural fibers, and it is something that stimulates the lymphatic flow in your body, and it helps the body to detoxify. It also helps exfoliate your skin. So what do I do with this? Well, I'm going to do long strokes with this brush. I'm going to dry brush before I go in the shower, and you can do this once to 3 times a week. When you start dry brushing, it's going to not feel super comfortable. You're going to probably have to start lightly, but as you get used to it, you'll be able to apply more pressure, and your body will not feel so awkward with it. It'll feel more comfortable. You want to use long strokes, and a good key is that you always want to work towards the center of your body. So if I start with my feet, the tops of my feet, I'm going to brush upward. I'll go up my legs, up my calves, and I'll go up my thighs, and I'll just keep doing long, steady strokes, okay? Up, always up towards my heart. Same thing with my arms, so I'm going to start here like that. I'm just going to brush, and then I'm just going to continue. I'm going to do it like a long stroke like that, and I'll just do that maybe 10 times. Depends how much time you have in the morning. Even if you just do this a couple times like that, always up towards my heart. This really helps increase circulation as well, and it gives you energy. It's a natural energy booster because it increases circulation in your body. So it wakes you up. Dry brush in the morning. I wouldn't do this before your nighttime shower because you're going to get a little energy from it. So we want to do the opposite. We want to wind down when we go to sleep. So first thing in the morning is really great. When I do my abdomen, I want to go in a clockwise circular motion like that. Okay, so all the way around like that. And you can do your chest as well, circular motion. And if you can reach your back, And if you have a buddy, they can dry brush your back for you. Um, if it depends how flexible you are. Just circular motions or long strokes here works as well, but you definitely want to do circular motions on your tummy. So the endorphins come out if the blood flows, and it's a great thing to do. I don't know if we've seen the loofah scrubs that you can take in the shower. They're a little different. They help to exfoliate. This does exfoliate, but it also really helps for that lymphatic drainage. So definitely something to pick up. Ask for Santa. This is a great stocking stuffer. It might take up most of your stocking, but why not have one good thing than a bunch of, terrible candies in there that aren't good for you? So one good thing in your stocking stuffer is a great idea. Or give this gift to a friend and start using it. And as I said, at first it's going to feel a bit scratchy and awkward, but then after you can apply more pressure, it's going to start to actually feel really good. And then you get to the point where it doesn't feel like you've had a shower. You don't feel invigorated the same way if you didn't dry brush before you've jumped in the shower. Okay.
There's a question
Sure.
for you, Dyanne. Linda's asking, what is the brush made of?
The brush is made of natural, let me see here. Do I have notes on it? I think it's natural boar bristles. So it's something that, so just talking about care of it, you want to clean it probably once a month, and you want to probably change it every 6 months or every year and get a new one. So that's just something on the maintenance of it. Yeah. Great. Okay, so let's move on to the third primary organ of cleansing. And that is finally the colon and the kidneys. So elimination through the gastrointestinal tract includes the colon, which is your bowel, and your kidneys. These are eliminative organs, which most people are familiar with. So you probably thought of that as the first one. And to help them function optimally, it's important to drink lots of water throughout the day. Ample water consumption is paramount in order to keep the body well hydrated and functioning properly. So next to air, water intake is the most important ingredient for survival. So we need air and water. Last week, I showed you and told you a little bit about how much water we need to drink. And I know Daniel was the convener on that episode, and he was kind of shocked, and maybe you will be, Nabil, if you didn't see it, but it's a 1/2 ounce per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 150 pounds, that's 75 ounces of water. And if there's 8 ounces in a glass, you're drinking about 9 glasses a day. 9 8-ounce glasses a day. And that may be like, what? That's impossible. It might be if you've been drinking one or even, less than one. So I shocked, I think, everybody about that last week. And it's something that if you're down to 1 glass, then, you're not going to jump to 9 if that is your quota for the day. You're going to start trying to say, okay, this week I'm going to get to 2. And then the week after, I'm going to get to 2.5 or 3. Just like any new program, it takes time to build that up. So, Nabil, if you could put a picture of the water jug on the screen for me. And this picture that I'm sharing with you is just coincidental. And I'll tell you the little story behind it once it's on the screen. So it's picture number 2. There we go. Okay, so here's a water jug that a contractor who is in my house, I'm having my kitchen renovated, and he put this on my counter, and I walked by and I said, oh my goodness, well, I was just talking about water in a previous episode that I do with the town of Oakville. And here you have this perfect big water jug. And he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, if I don't drink this by the time I come home at the end of the day, my wife really gets upset with me because she's saying you have to drink all of that water each day. So, and I took a picture of it because it's really funny. It says, good morning at the top. So if you drink up to at 7 a.m., it's got good morning. And then at 9 a.m., it says you've got it because you've drank to that level. And then 11 a.m., it says remember your goal. And then 1 p.m., it says that's it. 3 p.m., it says keep drinking. 5 p.m., it says no excuses. 7 p.m., it says a little bit more. And then 9 p.m., it says, well done. So you start at 7 in the morning, you finish 9 at night, and you have drank your quota for the day. Isn't that amazing? So you can take it off the screen now, Nabil. So I really got a kick out of that, saying, how fabulous is that? I have my water glass, and this is about 16 ounces. So I just remember to fill it up multiple times during the day, rather than that big jug. But hey, whatever works for you. The point is we have to get water into our system. So one thing you could do if you had that big jug is fill it and then pour from it into your glass so that you're not, doing the big chug thing. But it's really important to get that much water into your body daily. And yeah, you will have to take more bathroom breaks initially. And then after a while, your body has a way of absorbing it more effectively than just eliminating it. Any questions on the water? And if you want to put a little squeeze of lemon into it, just to switch it up, because if the taste of water doesn't really appeal to you, a little bit of lemon or lime, good source of vitamin C would help. But try to make it as pure, and hopefully you're drinking pure water as well too, not tap water, because there's things in there that we don't want to have, and we want clean water. I think we all appreciate that.
I have a quick question for you,
Yes.
Dan. If we're going to intake our water substantially from what it is that we're drinking right now, is there particular times of day that you want us to be mindful to drink water? Because sometimes if you're not in the habit of drinking water all the time, are you replacing a cup of coffee with water? Are you putting in that time like those notifications from that? And like what would you suggest?
So I would suggest a good health tip is in the morning have a warm water. It doesn't have to be hot, but warm water with some lemon, because that detoxifies your liver. So that's the best thing you can do. Or apple cider vinegar, half an ounce of that into a glass, 6-ounce glass of warm water, and drink that. And then you've given your body that detoxifying right from the start. And then after that, have your cup of joe or your dandelion that I have, the herbal, or a green tea, whatever it is. You can have that. And then if you have your water, I like to have a straw, because then it's just easier to take a sip throughout the day than putting your head back and drinking. I just find it's more convenient. And then a little sip here, a little sip there. What you don't want to do is say, oh, it's 8, 9, or it's 11 o'clock and I haven't drank a lot yet. And then you chug water. That's not going to feel good. That's not great for you. So it's better just to have your water glass beside you. And then as you're working, you're on your screen, you're in the car. I always have my water bottle with me in the car. I don't take my glass one. I take my stainless steel one, just because in another car I could possibly drop it. And then you're just sipping. And you get into the habit, if it's beside you and it's accessible. That's the key to everything. I teach guitar classes, and one thing I mention is have your guitar out of the case beside you in the living room. And recently, with a group of ladies that I'm teaching online, the class is called Girls with Guitars, and it's done through the Oakville Newcomers Club. So with those ladies, one lady said, well, I leave it in the kitchen, because she's in the kitchen all the time. And I thought, well, how great is that? She has it on a stand in the kitchen, and she's got a few minutes and she picks it up. So we need to have things accessible to us, and that way we use them. If you have to go and you open the fridge and get out the glass and pour it, you're not going to do it as if you're walking around with it handy with you. So small sips, to answer your question, Nabil, throughout the day, no gulping. And don't feel bad if you didn't reach your quota. If just remember that every day you want to have a little bit more than you did the day before. And you're going to start seeing the health benefits. Your skin's going to be clearer. You're going to have more energy. You're going to, your intestines will flow better. You're not going to feel as bloated. Everything's going to start to change. It's like I mentioned last week, it's like watering that dried up plant. You can revive it. You see, when you give your plant water, all of a sudden, the leaves and the flowers come out and everything becomes alive again. Well, we're living as well. So we need to water ourselves. Back to the colon. A healthy colon is critical to optimal health. An unhealthy colon, however, is a major source of toxins within the body. So fecal matter remaining in the colon for prolonged periods of times will putrefy protein toxins. So when that happens, they get reinduced into your body through your bloodstream. So what you don't eliminate, you reabsorb. And what we are to eliminate are the toxins, and your body does that naturally. But when that's inhibited, it comes back to you, and that's what we don't want. Our large intestine is about 5 feet long and 3 inches in diameter. So I'm 5'4". So if I just cut out maybe one hand here, from this arm to this arm, that's the length of the average large intestine. That's a long, long colon and a long tube where everything has to pass through. So you want to make sure it moves through and it doesn't get stuck there and then reabsorbed. Because we can have anywhere, this is fascinating, we can have anywhere from 6 to 40 pounds of waste, undigested food stuck in our bodies. Think of that think of that, I'll give you a graphic since you asked. No, that could be like carrying a bowling ball inside of you. And that's just amazing that there can be that much waste in you. And I heard this, and I don't know if it's true, but when Johnny Cash died, they said he had like 40 pounds of poop in him or something like that when they did an autopsy. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe Google it, find out. But I do believe that a lot of us are walking around with tons of waste inside of us. And once you start learning to eliminate and things start moving and you're eating healthier and you're eating things like flax seeds, you're going to start to say like, wow, where's all this coming from? Because it's been compacted inside. Elimination through our bowels, our gastrointestinal tract, which includes our kidneys and our colon. So living foods that are high in fiber and water. So there's the water again. The fiber would be your flax seeds. What they do is they help bind the toxins and they help push them out. So that's what you need, the water, right? The water is going to keep it moving, and the fiber is going to bind all those toxins that are in there, and the waste will be eliminated more efficiently. So toxic waste that's not eliminated is absorbed in the body, and it affects every cell and every organ. So when we eat dead food and we overeat and we eat snack junk food when we're not hungry, we put a burden on the colon, okay, because you're getting it to do work and you're putting it nutrients that aren't, or food that doesn't have any nutrient content to it, and that puts a burden on the colon. So we really should be having our meals and then letting our body do the digestion. And then you have another meal and you digest. And if you have to have a snack, if you're not full, then it's a healthy snack. Again, fiber-rich snack. And I had on previous episodes some great snack ideas. I see Linda's hand, so.
Yeah, that's one thing I wish more people knew about. I developed diverticulitis about 7 or 8 years ago. And I ended up having bowel surgery 3 years ago. They removed 8 inches of infected bowel caused from the diverticulitis. If I'd known that, I would have drunk the water and, kept things going. But you don't know anything like that.
You know what? It's so true. And nobody wants to talk about it because it's almost like they're embarrassed. And I'm thinking, well, this is just like breathing. And what's funny too is that a lot of times physicians don't tell you preventative methods. They'll just say, oh, you need this, you have this problem. They don't say, well, like going forward, let's get some fiber. And they don't teach you what kind of fiber to have. And they don't mention the water intake. So you really need to outsource to learn about your nutrition and your health, not only from your physician, because they really don't have the training in that either. They're really trained on how to treat disease once it happens. And that's only part of the picture, or part of the whole process. And hopefully you don't get to that point. So you did, and going forward, now get that flaxseed in. Just, grind it up best way and sprinkle it on your yogurt, in your cereal, in your smoothie, in your muffins, in your banana bread. Just put in, 2 tablespoons all the time. You're going to notice a huge difference. And you don't have to do other products that are sold out there that say they're fiber. Just use the real whole food sources. That's the best thing for you. A way to help with elimination. And this is something I had learned a while back, and it's really phenomenal. And I'm going to share it with you. I didn't plan on it, but speaking about that, I think it's really helpful. So when you are going to eliminate, there's a way to do that, and it's called I Love You. And how it works is this. It's on the left side of your abdomen. What you're going to do is, so this is my left. It probably looks like opposite, but it's my left. I'm going to take my fingers, and I usually do this on bare skin, and I'm just going to go down like this. And I'm going to do this about 6 times. Just when I'm in the bathroom, and I'm going to go to the bathroom, number 2, I'm going to just do this to my abdomen. I'm going to go down like 6 times. That's the I. Okay, and I just stay relaxed. Then I go across, and that creates the U. So then I go across right around my belly button. So that's the line here. And then down 6 times this way. So that's the U. I, we did the I. This is the U. Or sorry, that's the L. I don't know my letters, do I? I, L for love. And guess what's coming next is the U. There we go. So we go up from the right, across, and down. That's the U. So we have I, down, L for love, and then we have the U. And so each time, like about 6 times or so, and then you're going to find when you go to the washroom, it just happens better. And it's amazing. It's a way to totally, because what you're doing, your colon, you're just stimulating it, and you're just going along it, and you're just helping it relax, because you need to be relaxed for those muscles. Those muscles have to relax, because when they're contracted, if they weren't contracted, you'd pee and poo all the time. So they stay contracted. And then when they're relaxed, you let it go. The other thing you want to do is make sure your feet are elevated. And you probably have seen the potty stool, or they sell them now at some like Bed Bath & Beyond. And that's because the way the toilets are, they're too far. Our legs are down, and we're not in a position. We need to be more like in a squat position. So you need your knees up. So you can get a little stool if you like, or whatever, you be creative, a yoga block perhaps, anything to elevate your feet up enough so that your feet aren't down too far. And then the other thing too is you want to just kind of be leaning forward like that. Okay, so because the way it's going to come out, how it's going to flow out of you is more on that angle. You don't want it to be doing that. You want it to go that way. So those little corrective things, I mean, gosh, I wish I knew that when I was a kid, because I ate tons of ice cream and macaroni and cheese, didn't drink any water, and, struggled with elimination because my diet was wrong and I didn't have these tips and techniques. So important for the little grandkids too. Teach them proper things, teach them proper methods, because this is elimination. This is getting rid of toxins, and this isn't anything to be embarrassed about. Can make a difference in your health. There was a famous celebrity a little while ago who did a whole thing on YouTube about what I'm talking about, and she had all these tips. So people are speaking out because it's health. And now we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to look at the next slide that talks about foods that help our lymphatic system. And the foods that, just to give you a couple tips on what to look for that's going to help your drainage, your lymphatic system function better. You want the leafy green vegetables. You want low sugar fruits. So things like raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, those are the low sugar fruits and not the high sugar fruits like mangoes and things like that. Flax seeds, chia seeds, avocados, and garlic, Brazil nuts. Those are all foods that really help the lymphatic system. So be creative, get these into your diet. If you haven't been eating them, find ways to start eating them. And Brazil nuts also have a lot of selenium, and a lot of us need that mineral as well. So 2 Brazil nuts a day will give you your daily quota of selenium. Next slide. I just wanted to expand on the leafy green vegetables because some of you may think that's head lettuce, which doesn't have a lot of nutrients in it, by the way. So that's the iceberg lettuce. So what you want is the darker green leafy vegetables, such as kale, arugula, bok choy, spinach, collard greens, cabbage, romaine lettuce, and watercress. So those are the ones that are going to be healthier for you. They really do support your lymphatic system. Thank you, Nabil. Now, we need to exercise. What do we do when we exercise? Because this is all part of the cleansing. Remember, today we're talking about the organs and cleansing. We've gone through the lungs. We've gone through the skin. We've gone through the bowels and the kidneys, or the intestines and the kidneys. Now, the secondary organs, which I didn't talk a lot about today, are the eyes, the nose, which is the sinuses, the ears, and the mouth, the throat. Those are the secondary elimination organs. But I wanted to switch gears and talk about how we can aid ourselves in the elimination, the cleansing process. So we need to exercise. We need to get our hearts pumping. Because of the lymphatic system is the garbage collector, so we need to eliminate it. And if you don't move, your lymph system doesn't work, so it stays stagnant. And I believe our lymphatic system circulates 5 times throughout the day. And what we want to do is increase that. So what's the best way to do that is by exercise. So what I wanted to show you today is a low cardiovascular exercise that stimulates the lymphatic system. It helps improve your balance, your coordination, your motor skills, and it only takes 5 minutes a day. And it's called rebounding. Rebounding is kind of like trampoline jumping. And I'm just going to, I may have a problem here. I'm going to take my headset off for a second. And just untwist all my wires here. Yeah, good. So I'll show you my rebounder. And I bought this at Canadian Tire. So it wasn't very expensive, and it looks like this. Okay. Now, there are ones that I would suggest probably are safer to use that have a little rack with a bar that you can hang on to for balancing. Although I just thought of something, I have my chair here, so I could hang on to my chair. And it's a little low, but it could work as well. The one with the bar in front is nice because you can hang on to it. You don't want to fall, because trying to get healthy, you don't want to injure yourself. But I don't need the chair or the bar. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump 5 minutes a day. And I put the timer on my phone, and I just rebound like this. And I just go up and down. I like to do this because I find straight up and down it's not as comfortable. So I do like this, like I'm walking. This is rebounding, okay? I don't have to do, you know, these big straddle jumps and things, but I do like to include my arms. So I do this with my legs, and I bring my hands up and down. I breathe in through my mouth and out my mouth, and I just have my timer on. You can have music on. You can do a little twist for your love handles, right? Get a little extra workout in that. And I'm not, if you can see my feet, and I know you can't, my feet aren't really jumping off. I'm not jumping off of this. I'm just springing on it, okay? And do a little twist, and my legs again. And I'll do this for 5 minutes. Give me a second here to get hooked back up. So what it does is it gets my heart rate up. It gets my lymphatic system circulating. So instead of 5 times a day, I've probably increased it to 30. You can rebound for 5 minutes, 3 times a day, or you can do it starting with 1 time a day. How many of you have rebounded before?
I certainly haven't, but a question for you. If for anybody with mobility assistance that's required, is there, like I know you mentioned the chair, is there anything else that people can use? Would this be safe for them to use if they need some assistance mobility-wise?
Yeah, so I would get a rebounder with the built-in little handlebars. It's 2 bars with a beam across, and you would hang on to it, and so there's no way you're gonna then fall off. But as I said, you don't want to be jumping off of it. You just sort of use it as a spring. So that's an idea if you have a trampoline, but again, you know, it's better to have something to hold on to. So, you know, especially if you're not used to rebounding. But when I did my health minister training course, the gentleman that actually started up the company and recovered from cancer naturally. He had a big baseball tumor in his colon, and he decided that, you know what, I'm not going to do the traditional way of getting surgery. I'm going to heal it through juicing. I'm going to support my body with food and other things. And so anyways, he ended up, you know, the tumor shrunk and he's healthy, and we watched him rebound at 85, and he would and I think he's still alive today. He must be in his late 90s, but he rebounds every day, and we have a video of him jumping on the rebounder as I demoed. And it's just part of, because it's about healing the lymphatic system. And you think, well, is it exercise? It is, but we're not really talking about exercise today. We're talking about lymphatic drainage. We want to get the toxins out of our bodies. Yeah, so, you know, kids, when you see babies, they're always doing this, and they're jumping because they naturally, it's an innate quality to move that circulation in their body, and they do it without being told. They also breathe with their bellies. So babies and when we get older, we get stressed out because we don't realize we have choices about being stressed. We shallow breathe. We stop the deep breathing. We don't move the same way anymore. We're not as joyful. We're not as free. We're more conservative. We think, what's someone going to think of me? You know, and we end up closing in, and we lose our creativity. Lots of terrible things happen to us, but we can reverse all of that, and we can be childlike again, and we can have fun, and we can be healthy. And as I mentioned, the whole point of this program is about do one thing a day or this week that's going to create more health in your life. And so to wrap up the program, I'm hoping that I've given you some ideas today. I've brought awareness to you that's going to help you throughout the coming week and months and years of making those changes that are, they can be small, but they have big results in the end. Rebounding also helps lubricate your joints. It reduces stiffness. It's great for arthritis management, because the worst thing you can do is not move, right? So you want to keep moving your muscles, your fingers. It also, the rebounding can help the blood pooling in your veins, so it's good for varicose veins. So rebounding has a lot of benefits to it. The circulation of that lymphatic fluid helps to destroy the cancer cells in your body, and it has the anti-inflammatory effect. So please rebound, and if you don't have a rebounder, then jump on your mattress. There's always ways, right? I remember taking my kids to Sleep Country, and the first thing they want to do is jump on all the mattresses, right? So you can do that at home too. There's always, if there's a will, there's a way. Any last minute questions before we wrap up today's session?
Hi, it's May.
Hello, May.
Hi, it's very informative. Thank you. But if I jump on the jumping rope, is it the same as bouncing?
No, that's harder on your joints. So it's hard on your joints. And I mean, it depends on what age you are and what shape you're in. I mean, jumping rope is fantastic. It's a great exercise. And it does, actually, to correct myself, it does create the same effect. You are. But when you're rebounding, it's safer for your joints and stuff. Safer. Yeah, it is. As long as you can have something to hang on to. The point is you want to get that motion going because that's what's going to move the lymphatic system. And we don't think of that. But being stagnant and sitting, those are really bad things. I heard a saying that the sitting is the slow death, for our bodies now. And you think about years ago, people moved all the time. They walked all the time. They were constantly working in the fields. They were walking to the market. They were carrying things. And what do? We sit in our car. We sit in the waiting room at the doctor's office, unfortunately. We stand in line at the bank. We sit on our computers at home, and we are not having the lifestyle that people did years ago. So, and we see that in the disease we have. So we need to take charge of our health. And these things are really simple. And if you think about it, get moving and drink your water, get hydrated. Yeah.
Really
informative. And your body will do the rest for you. If you're putting in the fiber and you're drinking the water and you're getting your lymphatic system going, your body knows how to detoxify. You don't have to. You can help it with the I love you that we learned today. But
can you do one more time? I love you one more time.
Yeah, so the I love you one more time is we want the left side. That's where we want to start from left. And you're going to go down for the I. So it's like a letter I. And then across for the L by your navel. And do that 6 times or so. And then the U from bottom right up, across, down left. That's the I love you.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Have an awesome week. Looking forward to sharing with you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dyanne. And we'll see you next week, Dyanne. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. I learned so much today. I'm going to make sure I drink like many more of these. And I'll definitely use the bowel movement squat. Actually, my wife got one, and I have yet to use it. So thank you for letting me know more about it, and I'll definitely try it out. And I'm sure
do the I love you.
Do the I love you. Yes. Maybe I'll tell my wife I love you as I'm doing it too. So awesome. Thank you, everybody, and see you guys next week. Take care. Bye-bye.